All right, so in this video, we're going to go over the different calendars that HighLevel has. We're going to talk about which one you should be using, why you should be using whatever one it is, the benefits of it, and then the different features it has, and we're actually going to walk through setting up the calendars. First off, there's two types of calendars in here. If we go into settings and we go to calendars here, there is the basic calendar that it comes with all the HighLevel accounts. And so you have one calendar in here, and this is the original one that they used. If we click on this link, we're going to see what it looks like. And it looks like this. It's very basic, it's kind of plain. I really don't like it, and I actually don't use this calendar at all anymore. So that's what that looks like, but we're gonna go back here and we're gonna create one of the newer calendars. And the reason you wanna use the newer calendar is it has more round robin features. This calendar, you can't round robin the appointments coming in. So if you have multiple members on your team that are taking sales calls, appointments, you can have a round robin between them. You can do things such as equal distribution, so they all get equal number of calls. And you can also set it up so that you have different priorities. Maybe person A gets most of the calls and person B gets less calls, maybe because they're newer and you want them to just kind of get started. So there's features of that. You can set it up so that they have each of their own working hours. Also, the other big thing is just the look and the feel of the new calendar is a lot better. It looks better and it works better than the old calendar. So I definitely recommend using the calendar within HighLevel instead of having to use an outside service such as Calendly, ScheduleOnce, or whatever those other calendar softwares out there, because then you have to use an outside integration to push all the information into HighLevel and just gets kind of a mess. If you keep it all in one software, it tends to work a lot better. So let's actually get into building the calendar out so you can actually see some of the features and benefits of the new calendar. Okay, so first we're going to go into My Staff, because with the new calendar, it starts with a team. Now with a team, you can have a team of just one. You don't need a team of two. You can be just yourself in here starting out, but still take advantage of the new calendar. So as we see, I'm in here already, as you know, this is my account. I'm in here. What we're going to do is I'm going to add another employee to this account so that we can actually see the round robin feature and see how it works. So I'm going to just add someone real quick and I'll be right back. So now we have two people in here. We have myself and we have another test in here, Bob Smith. Okay, so we have two in here, and now you don't have to use everybody in the calendar, but for each person that's in the HighLevel account, it'll give you the option to add them. So next, if we go into Teams, now we're going to create a team. Okay, so you're going to click on the Add Team button, and first we give the team a name. Now you may be asking, where is this team name going to be? Who's going to see it? So I'm going to give you a little hack here, a little tip on how this is going to work. Also, if we look down here under our calendar team configurations, it could be kind of confusing. You got team info and you got team configuration, and there's another name, another description. So this is what I do when I'm first setting something up like this. If I don't really know what the team name is, I actually come in here and I'll just type in team name. And this way, and same thing down here, I'm going to say, in this case, I'm just going to say name. And down here, description. So if I name it what these fields are, now when I load the calendar up or the team up and I see where it says team name, I see name and you see description, I'll know what those are for, and now I can come back later on and I can rename these. So for the team members here, I'm going to add both myself and Bob Smith. Now under the team configuration, we also need to come up with a calendar team URL. So it's going to be the ending slug for your team configuration. Usually what I do for this is I'll just do the agency name. So demo/company. Now these two down here are important. I always turn this one on, which is assign contacts to the respective team member each time an appointment is booked. So this is going to be whenever a booked appointment comes from one of these calendars, it's going to assign that lead to that person that is the call is booked with. Now the second one is skip assigning contacts if the contact has already an assigned user. This is going to depend on how you want to do this. Most likely you want to keep this unchecked because the lead may be assigned to, say, myself, but then now if they book a call and the call gets booked on Bob Smith's calendar, do I want the lead to be reassigned to him? Most likely yes, because now that person is going to be in charge of that lead. So we'll keep this off. Then we'll click Save. And it's that simple. Now we've created our team. Okay, so now what we're going to do is now we're going to go to the calendars. And now you see we have this new calendar section here, which is the team section. As you see, name here, so that's where, remember we typed in name before, in the description, that's where this shows up. But now also if we click on this link, it's going to open up this, we'll call it a calendar section, or we'll call it a grouping of calendars. This is great for, depends on the type of service you have, or type of calendars that you want, but this is great for, say, a massage parlor, some type of med spa, something that has multiple different services. A good example would be massage. Then you can have several different calendars. If we had, say, 5 different calendars, one for, say, a 15-minute massage, one for a 30-minute massage, one for a 60-minute massage, then you can have a calendar here that says 15-minute. You can have one here that says 30 minutes, one here that says 60 minutes. And then you can send people to this page here and they can pick the service that they want. In another case, you might not have different services. You might want to send them directly to the calendar, so really you just need one, but this just gives you that option to have multiple calendars in here. So now we see the name here showed up and the description shows up. Now we can go back and we can make those adjustments for what we want these to say. If I come back here, we'll go back to my staff, we'll go to teams, and then we'll edit this. So team info, we're going to say just demo company. Down here, that's the team name. This one, nobody else is going to see, this is just for you. But then here for the name, which is right here, we're going to change this to, I'm just going to say demo company calendars. And the description will say something like choose your service below. Okay, so we'll click save. Now if we come back to the calendars, we'll reopen this one now. See now it says demo company calendars. We'll click here and now we see demo company calendars, choose your service below. Now if we come back here, we're actually going to create a new calendar. We're going to click on new calendar. So now here we're going to set it up. So by default, it's selected both these people, so you can select whoever you want. If you want to just have a team of yourself for now, you can just select yourself. And it's under optimized for availability. So here, maybe I want myself to have higher priorities. That means I'm going to get most of the calls, and then Bob Smith will get the second amount of calls. In here, we can connect Zoom, we can connect Google Meet. So for me, I'll have to go and connect my Zoom account. I'm going to click on connect and go through this process. So I'm going to sign into Zoom. I'm going to allow this app to share my permission, and then authorize. Okay, so now every time there's a booked call on my calendar, it is going to create a unique Zoom link for that specific call. Or, for example, Bob Smith, maybe he wants to take over a phone call. So in here, you can type in a phone number, say 915-555-5555. So now this is going to show up in the location when you use that field in your text, emails, reminders, so people know how the call is going to be. Okay, so now we're going to name the calendar. We're just going to call it Discovery Call. For the description, you can give a brief description of it. We'll say something simple for now. Discovery Call to see how we can scale your business. Okay, so then the calendar URL. So as you see before, we have widget, appointment. This is what we typed in earlier, demo company. Now this is for this specific calendar. What do you want the calendar select to be? And I would just say, you can do discovery call, you can do booking, you can do schedule. So we'll just say booking. Appointment title, I would just leave it as the contact name, but you can do a contact name, you can do with, you can do say your company, or maybe you want to do, we'll do this and we'll do user.name. So what that's going to do, this is one of those custom fields. What this is going to do is going to say, for example, Sally with Aaron Delzinski or Bob Smith. Okay, and then go ahead and choose the color that you want. We'll just leave it blue for now. Save and continue. Now we're going to go through, and this is your typical setup for a calendar. Slot duration, how long do you want the call to last? We'll say 20 minutes for this one. Slot interval, what this means is you want them to be able to book right now 30 minutes. So now they can book at top of the hour, so we'll say 4 o'clock, or they can book at say 4:30. If you move it down to 15, what this means is they can book at say 4 o'clock, 4:15, 4:30, 4:45, and you can drop that even more. So it depends on how you want to set that up. Buffer in between appointments, you might want to have say a 15-minute buffer. I think that's always a good idea to have. So then after that call, then you have 15 minutes before your next call, give you time to gather your thoughts, but you can leave that blank, or you can set it up however you want. Appointments per slot, you can actually have multiple people book, for example, a group call. You can do a maximum appointments per day. Minimum scheduling notice. So how far out do we want them to schedule or to be able to schedule? So if you do, say we do something good like 4 hours, that means right now it's 4:30. The earliest they can book, it would be 8:30, so 4 hours from now. Date range and how far out do you want them to be able to schedule? It's always good to do about, say, 5 days or less. Of course, it's going to be depending on how many bookings you have, but you don't want people to schedule 30 days out. Most of the time, they're not going to remember about that anyways. So really start out with probably 3 if you don't have that many bookings coming in, and you can adjust it later. Go ahead and set up your hours here. Maybe you want to also do Saturday, but I don't want to start till, say, 10 a.m. and only go, I want a short day, so maybe just till 12. Adjust your hours, and then we'll click Save and Continue. Okay, so custom form. By default, the calendar is just going to ask for name, email, and phone number. But if you want to add other questions in there, if you want to ask them questions to be able to book, then you can go and create a form, and then you can choose it from the drop down here. Then you can have name, email, phone, what's your website, what's your current revenue, what's your Facebook URL, things like that. So you can ask whatever questions you want, and you can add it to the calendar. We'll just keep this off for now. Next is sticky contact. This is a very powerful feature, and I always turn this on. So this was great for if they're coming from originally a landing page that, say, asked for their name, email, phone number, and then the next page after that is the booking page. Well, you don't want them to go and type in their name, email, phone number again. So sticky contact is going to transfer all that information over to the calendar, and it's going to pre-fill it so they don't have to fill it in again. Great feature. Always turn that on. Notifications, so let the calendar auto-confirm my appointment. I most time do that. Some use cases you might not want to auto-confirm an appointment where you have to go in and manually confirm it. It's called a booking request, and you have to confirm it. But I usually just keep that on. Send appointment alert emails to the assigned team member. So this will send an email to the person that had the call booked. They'll get an email, so then you know you got a booked appointment. I always turn this on as well. Allow Google Calendar to send invitations or email updates to the attendees, because I want them to get as many notifications as they can. Well, to a point. But I want them to get the calendar invite. I want them to then get added to a appointment reminder campaign, which is going to send out emails and text, remind them about their appointment. You can allow reschedule, allow cancellation if you want. Additional notes, I typically don't adjust this, but you can add notes in there. So by default, it's going to put in contact phone, email, the reschedule link, and the cancel link. But you can add in more information here if you want. This is amazing here. You can add your Facebook Pixel ID. So then what this is going to do, every time someone books an appointment with this calendar, it's going to send the information back to your Facebook account, and it's going to then, for your ads, add in that you had a booked call, a scheduled call, so that you have that data on your Facebook. Custom code, if you want a custom code to change the colors, the look of your calendar, you can do that right here. Form submission, now you have pretty self-explanatory. Do you want to display a general message once they click confirm, or do you want to redirect them to another URL? Probably a good idea, redirect them to some thank you page. But for this demo, we're just going to keep it on the thank you message, and we'll do complete. Now we have our calendar here. So if we click on our calendar and we load it, this is what the new calendar looks like. So you see demo company up here, discovery call, and then discovery call, see how we can scale your business. Okay, then you have the information down here. Here's the time slots. So as you see, as we set the 15-minute intervals, 8, 8:15, 8:30, 8:45, 9. That's that. And then when we click here, go to continue. Now we have the basic information. If I added a form in there, it would have the other questions in here or whatever my form had. And we'll go back. And so that's the setup of the calendar. Now, if we go back here, and now that we've added this calendar, if we go back to the team calendar, which is click into here, now we can see here's that calendar. And if you had other services, all the other calendars would show up here as well, and they can choose the specific one. From here, they can click on it, and it takes them to the calendar. Most of the time, you're just going to be sending them to this specific link. But depending on your business model, you might want to send them here, and then they choose the service. All right, so that's the different calendars. We have the basic calendar here, then we have the new Teams calendar. And again, it can just be a team of one. So in here, you'd edit, remove, we'll move Bob Smith. So now this one is just me. Now it's only going to be booked on my calendar. And you can add multiple calendars to this team calendar. So you can have a discovery call, and you can have another one that is, say, a demo call. But now comes the question of how do we know which calendar or how is it going to sync to our Google Calendar or Outlook calendar? Great question. What we're going to do is in the settings here, now this is going to have to be done per user that's on the calendar. I'll show you what I mean in a second. If you go to profile here, and if I scroll down here, one, I can set my working hours. Meeting location, I can choose here Zoom. And so now this is any calendar that I'm on, it's always going to use my location as Zoom. Next thing down here is this is where you can connect and disconnect your Zoom. And this is if you have an Outlook calendar you want to connect to, this is how you can connect your Outlook calendar. Now for the calendar configuration here, this is where you want the appointments to be booked on. So for this one, I have my primary calendar, meaning all booked calls are going to get booked onto this calendar that I have. And to get this in here, it's going to be under integrations. So first off, you're going to come into integrations, and then you're going to sign into your Google account, and you can sign into multiple Googles. So for example, I have two Google accounts in here. I have this one, and I have this one here. And you can make whatever one primary. So I have two, and you can add multiple ones there, because you might have different calendars for different purposes, and you want to check for conflicts in all of them. So I've done two of these here. Now if we go back to profile, and we scroll down here, and I click edit for the primary. So which is the primary one I want booked calls to be put on? I want it on this calendar, okay? And then you might have multiple calendars in there, so you can select which calendar you specifically want it added to. And now here, check for conflicts. Now I have my two calendars. I want to check for conflicts on both of them. For example, this is my personal calendar I use for personal events. This is my business calendar that I use for business events. But I still don't want overlapping. For example, I'm going to the dentist one day. I don't want to call schedule the time I'm going to the dentist. So in here, I'll click on edit, and this is, I'll select the specific calendars I wanted to check for conflicts on. So right now it's checking on the errand personal. And then for this one here, by default, because it's the default calendar, it's going to check for conflicts on that one. But I can also choose, maybe I have family events here. I can check this box as well, and it'll check for conflicts on all those calendars. For each person that you're adding to the calendars, you're going to need them to come in and do the same thing. So they have to come into their profile within the HighLevel account, come down here, set their own working hours, connect their own Zoom if they want Zoom, connect their Outlook. They also need to go into integrations here, and they need to add their Google accounts, so they can add them here. And then once they add them here, then under their profile, that's where these calendars are going to show up, and they'll do the same configuration that we just went through. So that's the calendar system, and the new, or should say newer calendar system with the new team calendar. I highly recommend using the new team calendar. It works much better. You have round robin features. And then you can keep all these calendars within HighLevel, and there's less automations you got to set up. The automations for these calendars we'll go over in a separate video. That'll be done with workflows or triggers. And that's it for this video. So hope that helps with using the calendar system in HighLevel, and I'll see you on the next.